All right, well, we'll get started then. Good day, everybody. Well, it's good morning where I'm at. We're currently in BC, and I definitely get the award for the worst background right now because I'm in a hotel room and don't have a good view behind me, but that's not what we're here for today. I'm Liz Kovach. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar that's really going to be focusing on building your workforce with interns. We've been working really closely with the CAREERS Alberta team to really pull this together for the industry. There is some funding that's available as well, which begins October the 1st, and we wanted to give our members the opportunity to learn about some of the programs that exist to help build their workforce and to help hire staff, because we know that there is a huge need out there. Alberta has been very busy, and if you had a chance to review the labor study we conducted in the last couple of years, you'll know that there is a lot of opportunity, but we also have a lot of people who are going to be retiring and leaving, and we really need to start building that funnel of talent and helping develop them so that we can take them along their continuum of their career. Now, before we jump into the webinar, I am going to pass it over to Claudio. I'm going to have them all introduce themselves, give a little bit of overview of what they do, and then we will hop into the presentation right after that. So Claudio, take it away with your team, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Liz. So my name is Claudio Quinteros. I'm a program coordinator with Careers. And my area that I work in is the Calgary and surrounding areas. So that's everywhere around Calgary, from basically from the mountains to basically the border to down south, to about just before Lethbridge, and then up to Olds and Red Deer area. And then we have other team members who work in all the other regions. So Careers is actually in every nook and cranny in Alberta, and as we are Alberta based. So my role, so previously I came from a role with the government of Alberta called Learning Click, sharing post-secondary information with youth in school. So this role was right up my alley to speak with youth and just get them connected to in-demand career paths. So with that being said, my role is now to connect youth with employers who want to increase awareness and build their workforce, and work with youth in the community. So engaging employers, associations like the WRLA, and working with our school division partners to give youth ultimate educational experience is now my role and kind of my passion for what I do. So I'll pass it on to Lara Barnett for her intro.
Great. Thanks so much, Claudio. As you mentioned, I'm Lara Barnett. I'm the Provincial Manager of Employer Engagement for Careers, and what my role entails is to reach out to employers and associations to try to find these wonderful work integrated learning opportunities for the students within Alberta. We have a team all across Alberta, different regions, and I'm able to connect you with the local individuals, and so they can assist you better that way. Thank you, and I'll pass it on to Cindi, and then we'll get back to the presentation. Cindi?
Hi, everyone. My name is Cindi Mihaljevic. I am the Manager of Partnerships at Careers. The region I serve is anything south of Lethbridge, south of Red Deer, and I also do support Red Deer as well. And my main role is to increase the all-encompassing partnerships at Careers, and to provide engagement opportunities for our partners.
Great. All right, so we'll get started, I guess, with the presentation.
Perfect. Take it away, team.
All right, thank you so much. We're very excited to be here, so thank you so much for giving us this opportunity so we can share all the great work that Careers is doing. We are, if you wanted to, there we go. We're a nonprofit organization. We've been around for a long time, since 1997, and as we mentioned, we are Alberta operating only at this point in time. There's been talk that maybe that will spread to other provinces. There's a lot of interest from employers that have multiple locations throughout Canada. We are Alberta's best kept secret, but we're starting to get the word out. Our mission is to connect young Albertans with employers through work integrated learning and internship positions. And really what we're trying to do is help young Albertans find their career pathways through hands-on learning. And it's a really good workforce strategy as well, because while the students are finding their career pathway through hands-on learning, industry and employers are able to build up their future skilled workforce from the ground up. Next slide, please. We work with high school aged youth primarily, as well as high school graduates up to age 21. And we help young Albertans to learn new skills through getting their hands dirty and actually working within a role within an organization. By doing so, we're making school relevant for these young people, and we're linking learning to earning. I'm very pleased of a stat I want to share with you. With careers interns, we've been keeping track of the graduation rate, and 99% of careers interns graduate from high school. So that really is outstanding. We're happy to report that. Careers internships encourage young Albertans to stay in school and as well as to continue with their post-secondary career pathways, whether they're pursuing their journey person certificate or college and or university degrees, depending on the industry they're looking at. Next slide, please. Through careers internships, students can earn high school credits, learn new skills, and get paid. Part of our mandate with our program is for employers to pay these young people at least minimum wage, but you're welcome to pay the students more if you'd like, and they would like that as well. Next slide, please. We assist employers and industry by raising awareness of in-demand roles. Most people only know what they know. They know what their parents do or their uncles or aunts do. They know front-facing roles such as teacher, doctor, dentist, but they might not know about roles that are a little bit more behind the scenes, such as instrumentation technician or crane operator or aircraft maintenance engineer. And by placing young people into work integrated learning opportunities, they are learning about those roles, but they're also learning about all the other roles within your organization and within your industry. So it really raises awareness about those wonderful in-demand roles, and young people can make a decision while they're still in high school to pursue that role. Our secret sauce is the strong relationships that we have with Alberta high schools, because we can connect local young Albertans with employers. We also have incentive funding available for employers to take on young Albertans, and I will go into some further details about that later on in the presentation. Careers does all the work for you. We will vet the students, provide you with resumes that you can review, interview for the internship positions. And it's really proven to be tried and true. It's really working. And my next slide will show the impact. So I think this is a moving slide. If you want to click it a couple of times, Claudio, thank you.
Oh.
He's running the show for me. Thank you. So this slide here is from our annual report, our 2023 report. Our year ends October 1st. So we're just getting in our final numbers for 2024, but it's really showing that it's proven to be a success. So for 2023, the results since we started in 1997, we've placed over 37,000 young Albertans. And we've been so successful this past year. In 2024, the number has risen to over 42,000 young Albertans have been matched with employers throughout the province within various internship roles. So we're really excited about that. It is working, and it is creating our future skilled workforce within the province. Next slide, please. So we have quite a few different programs. We started in the skilled trades in 1997, and it's really grown from there. Skilled trades is still our primary top program. We are doing very well. There's the registered apprenticeship program within Alberta. That's not careers program per se, it's through AIT, but we do the matches. We're able to match the young students to the employers. We also have an information and communications technology program, which is wonderful and can be utilized throughout pretty much any organization, as technology is in everything, and we'll go into more details about that. We have wonderful initiatives such as our Indigenous Youth Internship Program, our YWIT, our Young Women in Trades and Technologies program. Since the pandemic, as I mentioned earlier, we are able to help graduate students up to age 21. Before the pandemic, we focused more so or exclusively on high school students, and we are still working with them, but we're able to help that group that sort of was lost in transition throughout the pandemic. Maybe some young people were working towards their registered apprenticeship program. They couldn't get the hours in towards their journey person certificate, so we're able to assist them as well. And we have many other industry-led programs, such as environmental, forestry, agriculture, health services, and as of last spring, we've been working with the aviation and aerospace industry, and we've been able to launch a program for them as well. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass it over to Claudio with the next slide to talk a little bit more about information and communications technology.
Yeah, so even just before going to that next slide too, like, a lot of these initiatives, these programs start where there's a need in an industry, right? So industries will typically come to us to help fulfill that pipeline of youth and just get that education out there. So, really our programs are tailored to what the industry needs and, for the WRLA's perspective, for whatever your businesses need. And so keep that in mind as we go through. There isn't just one bucket for employers. You can hire youth in various buckets with us. So for example, our ICT program, a lot of students, they think of ICT being tech positions with Google, Microsoft, that kind of thing. But we do speak with students in the classroom, let them know that, hey, ICT tech is everywhere. So really just letting students know there's opportunities working as a corporate administrator. We had students in the past couple of years working with the Cedar Shop, and they learned everything from accounting, finance, HR, supply management, sales, business. I think they even did some social media marketing for them as well. So it really just allows them to see the whole business. So this program we do tailor to business students, so students who identify with either one of these categories or a business class through their high school, and those are the ones we try to champion for these particular positions. So, something like that, if you do have a business need where you have a project on the side of your desk that you want to fulfill, an ICT intern, a business intern could be that student who get it done for you. We've had some stories too where employers will give students a rebranding project. Well, they'll have to change all the logos and presentations, letterheads, all their documentation, thinking that the kid will take, over a week to get it done. And then the kid comes back. I think it only took them like a day and a half to actually get done, and they were on to the next thing right away, right? So it's a great opportunity to show students that there is opportunities in in your businesses that they just wouldn't be aware of. So that's how we frame a position like at the Cedar Shop, and with Mitch Wells' support, we were able to get students in there, and he was able to give them a bunch of their training through all the different departments. So that's one area as well. Skilled trades, as mentioned, it is the registered apprenticeship program, may not apply to all of the WRLA members per se, but these are also students who want to get into some sort of hands-on industry, right? So not only do we say it's just skilled trades, but it's also skilled trades adjacent. So it's always we're always looking for opportunities to give youth who want to work hands-on, who may not know what industry to go into. So that could be transportation, that could be supply management, supply chain, right? So there's lots of different avenues students can go. They just don't know what's out there, and sometimes kids, they only know 3 or 4 main trades anyway. So it's like they know electrical, carpenter, welding, but they don't know about the other 50 trades out there. So we love to give them the opportunity to see other hands-on opportunities, and we've been successful in getting students working in various positions. For example, Metri took a student in their warehouse in 2023. So that's another example where a student who may have identified with the shop classes in school, but is really looking for their next opportunity. And something like that actually really did intrigue the student, and they love their opportunity that they spent there in the summer. One thing to mention as well on this slide, students can actually earn up to 40 high school credit. So basically one high school credit is 25 hours of work. Okay, so 25 hours of work, that's maybe a couple days worth of work. So, a 40-hour work week, student can earn almost 2 credits, and then over the course of a summer, up to 10. And this actually allows for students to be covered through their WCB, covered through Alberta Ed. So I'll go into more detail on that in a bit here. But there's also scholarships available as well. So a lot of times industry will provide scholarships too. We do share those. If any of the members here have scholarships they'd like us to share with the school divisions, we're happy to do so. But the one we do push is the AIT scholarship for any apprenticeable trades. This is actually a celebration we do host with AIT in Edmonton. So we like to celebrate all the students who became apprentices over the past spring and summer, and then we celebrate them in the fall. So I believe that celebration is actually coming up on November 15th, so not too far from now. We did, as Lara mentioned, we do support up to 21. So again, it's helping those students who just aren't navigating high school or didn't really navigate high school to something meaningful. Maybe they tried something at SAIT or a university, first year didn't go well, and they're looking for other opportunities. Other students who may come through this program are students who we've worked with in the past who are just looking for that extra support. So that we're really looking at the 18 to 21 age bracket here. So these ones, their WCB is not covered by Alberta Ed, but we also try to support them the way the schools would. So schools typically will support a student through the summer, check in on them, make sure they're getting their credits for the hours worked, making sure the WCB is covered for the employer. But what we do on our side with the E21 program is we work with youth who as a supported start. So for example, we'll check in with the student 3 weeks into their internship, see how things are going, and then follow up with the employer to see how things are going. And we're really just there to support the students if things don't go well, and support the employers if they're looking for more hires, right? So the average age of an apprentice right now in Alberta is about 26, 27 years old. So it's quite high, and it's really poses the question, like, what happens from 18 to 26, right? Like, what's going on with someone who wants to get into the trades, or wants to do some hands-on work, or just wants to get into an industry which career path may not be straightforward. This we're trying to bring that age down. So really, that's part of our mission, and being able to give them that access to training, and is something that we support as well. So I know, again, obviously our skilled trades opportunities may include some of these, but with yourselves, obviously skilled trades isn't maybe all of what you employ, but these are the kind of students who we try to target, right? So as I mentioned earlier, carpenter is one of those trades where everybody knows about it, but they don't ask if they don't know what a roofer does, right? Or a glazier. I ask in every classroom I speak in, does anyone know what a glazier does? And students just aren't informed of what's out there, right? So even in your industry with manufacturing and prefab, like it's really something that's just students just probably have never even thought of considering that industry as where to go, right? So we do try to share those opportunities. It just makes students more aware of what's out there. So with that being said, we do have a few initiatives. So we have our Young Women in Trades and Technology initiative. This allows young women to essentially meet women who are in the roles, and maybe they're an apprentice, maybe they're a business owner. If there is any, females on the call, or if you know of anyone who would love to participate in these camps, that's something we can speak on, down the road once you start engaging with us in school divisions. We do try to limit everybody. We do try to limit, the exposure, and make sure it's a safe space for young women who get involved, just to break some of those stigmas that are involved with, trades and just construction world in general, right? So if that is something that you're interested in, we definitely have that chat on, see how you can get involved. But really, this is an opportunity to even highlight some of the industry's needs, and to show young female identifying students where they can fit in that picture. So we've had some great camps in the past, And not only is it camps that we can host, it's really those internships, those opportunities. If you know of a mentor who is someone who could be great with working with youth, then we can actually, get a female student lined up for that mentor if that's what they would like to do, right? So, for example, Mitch Weil at the Cedar Shop, he did say he would love to get more women into his industry. So the first year we worked with him, we got 2 female students from a business stream to work at the Cedar Shop, and both students excelled, and I believe they stayed on after high school. One went back to school, I believe. But yeah, it really just gives them that opportunity that they just didn't know it was out there, and really it's breaking down some of those barriers and stigmas. So another initiative of ours is our Indigenous Youth Internship Program. Oh, great to hear Olivia still works there full time. So that is one of the students Mitch hired the first year. So it's great to hear that one of the students is still sticking around there, and yeah, no, it's great. Like those are the success stories we love to share. And with our Indigenous Youth Internship Program, it's a bit more broad in this case because we want to make sure there is access to opportunities for Indigenous youth. We do have a career coach that works with our Indigenous youth. We partner with a lot of the nations and surrounding communities with their summer student programs. So a lot of times the ISETS office, which is the Indigenous Employment Services and Training Services, basically they're an office on First Nations who will help with employment. So we partner with them where we can to give students opportunities in various amount of different roles. So I believe in Fort McMurray, they had a couple of students who wanted to get into real estate. We got connected with a company out there, and 2 of those students actually are, I believe, registered real estate agents now. So it's just trying to break down some of those barriers, especially for the community work. There can be some cultural sensitivities, and we do try our best to to let employers know and coach employers about some of those. For example, we were working with students on Tsuut'ina Nation. We had one student working construction. For some reason they stopped showing up one day. Employer didn't know why. They tried calling the student once, didn't get a call back, so they just left it. We followed up with them after. And it turns out there was a death on the nation, and that student had to be with their family. But they didn't actually feel comfortable to go back to that employer and say, "Hey, you know what? Like I needed time off for this reason." It wasn't a direct family member of the students, but it's the way the community pulls together. So we do have a toolkit for employers who want to work with Indigenous youth as well. So that can be used anywhere, essentially across Canada. Um, yeah, so part of our process is essentially the first thing we would do is if you're interested in hiring a youth, draft an internship position description. So we call them internship positions just to give students an idea that it may be a limited opportunity. So there is no expectation for the employer. For yourselves, it's more of a try before you buy scenario. So that job description just helps us make sure we can find the right candidates. So once we have that, we actually will collaborate with our schools and community to promote those opportunities and screen suitable candidates. So sometimes this can be done through tours and hiring events, which I'll chat about here in a minute. But a lot of times too, employers let us know that, hey, a colleague, son of mine would love to work with us this summer and get credit. So that would be an example of where we can help support, get that student the credits through their school division, make sure they're supported in the right ways. And that's totally okay. So, if you guys have any youth, that work with you in the summer, just know that they can actually be supported by their schools as well. And I'll chat a bit more on some of those benefits in a bit here. So careers, we do vet them, as Lara mentioned earlier. We love to just, send potential candidates that meet your needs, that can get to your sites, that have the requirements that you require, and really just making sure they're ready to go. So once we have those vets, we send them to you. You can interview however many candidates you like. So you just let us know what that could entail. And then from that point, once a student is selected, we work together with the school divisions to get an off-campus agreement signed. So this off-campus agreement is with the off-campus coordinator, which is actually a teacher at a school. And only once this agreement is signed by yourself as the employer is the WCB covered by Alberta Education. So essentially, once that's typically the employer signature is always the last one to be signed. The student and the school will get their portion done first. So basically, as soon as your signature is on that, your WCB for that student is covered. So this really works well with our trade students and students who work in construction industry. And they will only hire under 18 students with this WCB coverage because it's just the less liability on their end, and it gives them an opportunity to support their schools, divisions, and their communities as well. So once that's in place, the student can start work. So a student can start working with yourself through the summer, through whatever that internship may be. It could be through during the semester if the schedule works out with the students as well. And then from that point, there'll be regular check-ins with the student and the off-campus coordinator and make sure everything goes smoothly. And then any questions about that can be directed to them or to ourselves if needed. So this picture here on the left is actually we did something called a wrap draft with another association. So the Alberta Wall and Ceiling Association, they're drywallers. And what we did with them is we basically did a exclusive hiring event for them. Okay, so what we did was basically a kind of like a hockey draft. So what the association did is they let us know how many of their members would like to hire students. We brought in X amount of students for X amount of positions. We pre-vetted them. We invited our school partners to attend as well. So we love to have the school teachers come out to these anytime you have a student tour or hiring event. Great to have some school division partners there just to share with their division that you guys are doing an amazing thing and giving students an opportunity, because sometimes that does go unrecognized from the division level, as schools can sometimes work separately. But this actually gave the students an opportunity to do speed dating interviews with employers. And the fascinating thing was, they all felt more comfortable by the end of it. So once the students had the tours of the shop or the business, and then once they were interested in learning more about that, did we invite them back to a hiring event? And then after the speed dating, and the student understands the role, the student understands how the company works, only then did that student get an interview at that point, right? So it really ensures that you get students who are passionate about your industry, about what you do, and it gives them the full picture before, putting themselves out there, right? So again, I do mention here that WCB coverage is only when students are supported by their high school, but this could also support your company's ESG goals, right? So school divisions, and this isn't really commonly known, but school divisions actually get funding from the government of Alberta to hire students who earn credits. So if you're hiring a student who isn't earning credits, then you're just basically hiring another part-time or summer employee. When you actually get them to earn the credits, you're actually indirectly helping the school divisions build their off-campus and work in integrated learning programs. So it actually is really massive for the school divisions to have more of those students enrolled in credits. So it's just something, if you would like to support a local economy, if you're located in a rural area, this is a great way to kind of support that school division. And a lot of times too, you'll get a lot more feedback from them at that point as well. Yeah, so it is an idea that we've done in the past. Again, we've done it with various associations and employers, some larger employers who have multi-branch facilities. We've done exclusive ones for them. So that's an idea we could do, bringing in students for a tour, giving them the opportunity, and maybe doing a hiring event or interviews after the fact, right? So with that being said, I will pass it back to Lara to speak about the safety aspect of things for students.
Great. Well, and I'll touch on this shortly because we did cover a little bit of it through the last slide in regards to WCB. But the careers question that we always hear when we're working with young Albertans is, what about young people that are under 18 years of age? And we have an amazing track record at Careers. Again, we mentioned we started in 1997, and that was up north in Syncrude. So we've placed a multitude of young Albertans with oil and gas organizations, with construction companies, and our track record for safety is absolutely wonderful. We are working with SafeGen. SafeGen is an organization who provides free workplace safety courses to students under 18 years of age. One thing that is mandatory is that these young people take the HCS 3000 course. There's other courses that they can take through there as well, but they take this safety course before we even place them with employers. So that is a mandatory course. They receive 1 high school credit for it. And it is paramount that they take that. There's also other courses that the students can take through SafeGen. So if something such as fall safety or WMIS, any of those particular courses, if there's something that you would like the students to have, just let us know and we can put that into our internship position description and make sure that they can find those safety courses in place. Again, WCB is covered for the high school students once the off-campus agreement is signed by both the employer and the school divisions. And really, again, that's one of the main differences between the high school program and our other intake of the U21 candidates. WCB for high school is covered by Alberta Education, but for the U21, again, it is looked after by the organization that the students would be employed by. And I did want to talk to you about our incentive funding. It's really a great program. It's really helped employers, particularly maybe smaller employers who need the assistance, the funding assistance to pay the wages for these young Albertans. It's tiered, it's set up so employers will be encouraged to take on as many students as they possibly can and still provide wonderful mentorship. So for instance, if you were to take on 1 student over the summer, full-time hours would come to about 240 hours if they worked for all of July and August. You would be paid $1,800. If you were able to take on 2, it would be $4,000, and then 3 would be $75. So it does go up quite significantly if, you know, from 1 student to 3 students, if you could take on those students. We also do have provincial employer funding for the YIP program, the Youth Internship Incentive Program, where let's say you have multiple locations throughout the province of Alberta, and that's something that we can help you apply for on that base. So you would apply for it on a provincial basis, and then each of your locations would be able to utilize a portion of that 15,000 funding, but that does need to be specially approved by our executive team. Again, it's paramount that you apply for this funding with us before the students or young people start working for you. The funding is going live October 1st, but it's not. The new round of funding rather is going live October 1st, but it's not too soon to start applying. We have found that these particular funding, incentive funding options have really been popular lately, and every year that we have our YIP incentive funding, it becomes fully allocated to employers much earlier in every cycle. So if you are interested, reach out to us. We can set you up with your employer portal. You can apply that way. Super simple, super easy. Again, you can be approved for the funding before these young people start with you. If for some reason you are unable to take on that internship position that you were thinking you could down the road within the cycle, that's not a problem. We can always put the funding back into the pool. But it really is wonderful. It's something that you can utilize towards supporting the students' wages. You would have to pay the wages upfront ahead of time, and once all of the internship hours have been completed, you would then declare those hours through the portal and then request your payment, and then you would receive the payment afterwards. Highly effective, really a great opportunity for you to be able to try on our programs and try some of these young Albertans and, you know, get them placed within your organization. So again, we mentioned minimum wage is mandatory for our internships. When we're looking at the YIP funding and how it's structured, once you're approved, it would pay for almost half of the wages. So it is a really great thing. And I guess I'll hand it over to Cindi now.
Hi, everyone. So now we've heard the process and we've heard what Careers does. Excuse me, does. Now the question is why? Why participate in our programming? Why sign on with Careers? And the simple answer is engaging youth and investing in youth. We know that there's a labor shortage across the country. Any conference you go to, any meeting you go to, doesn't matter what industry, you're hearing labor shortage. Well, we have provided you with an untapped demographic to help to combat that shortage. So next slide, sorry, Claudio, thanks. So what do we know? I'm not going to read every one of these for you because I'm sure you can take a look, but 40% of tradespeople will need to be replaced in the next 5 to 10 years, which is approximately 40,000 skilled trades workers in Alberta. And I believe in your industry, there's over 460,000 employees. I'd love to hear the statistic of how many of those are aging out of your industry and what your needs would be. I did do some research. I really couldn't find any statistics on that. So I would love to have that. If anybody knows that statistic, just to bring the point home of what the next 5 to 10 years will look like in your industry. Again, over 700,000 are, there you go, 20% of your members are retiring in 5 years. So that's almost 50,000, 100,000 almost people retiring from your industry. So the need is there, obviously. Currently, women, they represent 5% of workers in the most in-demand skilled trades. Again, I would love to see a statistic, and maybe Liz has it there and she could pop it into the chat, of what is the statistic of women in your field and in your industry, right? And that actually brings me to the point of when I was looking for certain statistics for your industry, it was a little bit hard to find. But so one thing that Careers can provide to you is that forum, that audience of the young people, and to raise that public awareness. I know that you all have, or you've started a campaign called Let's Go Build, I believe, to bring awareness to your industry. And what Careers can actually do is help you with that audience. And that's something that we reserve with our partners and those that are taking interns, and in our programming, we actually have that forum for you. We can provide you with that audience, provide you with that airtime of students, and not just students, but also parents, especially in the high school years and in the junior high years. Parents still have a large influence on what their kids are going to be doing. And I could say for myself, when I just started with Careers about 1.5 years ago, when I would go to the career fairs, there's a very big misconception with the parents of go to this trade. They're pushing their kids towards certain trades where they think the money is. This is the trade that you want to be in. This is the lucrative trade. And what Careers is really working on, and we pride ourselves on, and I think that's what sets us aside from other organizations across the province, is that we try to change the narrative. Perfect. Thank you, Liz. We definitely try to change the narrative of, what, if you can't do anything else, go into the trades. So aside from just really focusing on placing students in internships, which is actually our main, our main purpose and our mission, we also like to change that narrative that if you can't do anything else, let's go to the trades. We're trying to pose the trades as, and I shouldn't just, it's not just the skilled trades, it's ICT, it's agriculture, it's forestry, health, now aviation, that it is a lucrative career. It is a trajectory. You can move up. You're not going to stay on the tools the whole time. And we are really the organization to do that and to change those misconceptions. 40 years ago, Alberta Ed decided to change, really put a focus on academia, right? Let's pull some of the CTFs out of the schools and some of the trades programs out of the schools. And I know here in Calgary, some of the schools don't have certain trade facilities, and they're not offered anymore. But now we're seeing the repercussions of those decisions from 40 years ago based on the skills shortage that we're facing. So if we can go to the next slide. So again, as Lara mentioned, we are Alberta's best kept secret. Well, we used to be. We are a connector. We work with the industry, the government, and educators to promote these career pathways for youth. That we know that demographic, that youth are essential for economics, Alberta's economic success and prosperity. The other thing that sets us aside is that we are in the government mandate letters. We are in the Alberta Ed's mandate letter. We are in Alberta Advanced Education's mandate letters to work with Careers. Careers is the organization. We really are that beacon and that guide for workforce strategy when it comes for youth. Next slide. So what can you do? What can we do for you? Why would you want to, invest in careers and work with careers? Is obviously we can attract and retain local talent. We can train your workforce from the ground up. You're actually, you're getting fresh minds, you're getting innovative minds, you're getting minds that aren't seasoned in the industry that you can actually, for lack of a better term, mold to your community, your company culture, to what your industry needs. You're getting a blank slate, if you will, when you take on these young interns. And it also provides that mentorship opportunities for your team. And those mentorship opportunities are very important for both the young person's mental health, but also for people that are seasoned in the industry, to feel like they're giving back, to feel like they are providing that service and having that succession planning, impact on the succession planning in their industry. For example, one statistic is in 2023, employers that took on students and paid them, $15 an hour for a maximum of 500 hours actually put back $23.6 million into the Alberta's economy. So it's really that investment piece, right? Next, Claudio. So again, I always joke I'm the last person people want to talk to at Careers because I talk money and partnerships. So these are some of our partners that we work with right now. These people, whether they're taking on students or they've just seen the value in supporting Careers. Careers is, we do work closely with the Alberta government. We do have our core funding through the Alberta government, but with that type of funding also comes huge restrictions. So we look to because we are industry led, we can't do the work that we do without you, without the industry pointing us in the right direction and providing us the insight, excuse me, of what we need to do and how we need to grow. With receiving government funding, and some of those that have worked with the government may understand this or are part of different organizations or members of different not-for-profits, you'll understand how restricted you are. We are restricted in growing. We are restricted in expanding some of our programming to areas that aren't within our agreements with the government. So for example, newcomers, that's one of our strategic priorities for the coming years. We've got this huge influx. I think they said we're about 2 years behind in the influx of newcomers that are going to be coming just from the Ukraine. So we need to tap into these demographics, the vulnerable populations. I came from my position prior to coming to Careers. I worked with the Calgary Homeless Foundation, and there's a huge number of young people that are actually they're going to school, but they don't have homes. They're couch surfing. We need to tap into these these populations, and we need to have the capacity to deal with these demographics. And so we look to our partners to get into that reciprocal relationship where we can provide you with the audience, we can provide you with that connection to the young people, to the schools, to the parents, and help you to build your workforce and your company culture. And we look to our supporters for that support and to keep working on the way that we do. We also have some formal partnerships with Inside Education, Work Wild. So we've got the Forestry Alliance, the Forestry Futures Alliance. So it's Careers, Work Wild, and Inside Education. And basically what we do is we try to bring awareness to the forestry industry and teachings about forestry to students ages K to 12. And what we actually in 2019, I believe it was, we were actually acknowledged by the Forestry Products Association of Canada for the work that this alliance is doing. It's quite a successful alliance in bringing awareness to the industry. We also have an excellent relationship with Women Building Future, Skills Alberta Canada. One of the things that Careers really prides itself on is bringing everybody to the table. Again, being that beacon, being that connector, because there's so many great programs that are happening out there. Why reinvent the wheel? Why not bring everybody to the table, leverage our strengths, leverage our expertise, and instead of, a lot of lip service, let's put in action plans, let's put in strategies, and let's get the work done in terms of investing in young people, promoting these sectors to young people, and getting them interested in these career pathways. And then in the flip side, investing in Alberta's economic prosperity. So where do we go from here? We continue the conversation. Again, like I've mentioned, we've all been to, well, I know I have been to several conferences where there's panels and there's discussions and there's roundtables on, there's so many, there's a shortage, we need to do something. Well, let's continue the conversation because we all have the same vision. We know the issues there, but what are we going to do? Let's work proactively. Let Careers work proactively with your workforce strategy in your organizations to promote the engagement in Alberta's economic prosperity. And then formalize the synergy between your organizations and Careers. Careers is always, it's ever growing. We are constantly developing our programming to match industry needs. Help us to help you build your workforce. We welcome the input and the feedback and the insights from industry because we are industry led. As Lara mentioned, we started up north. We actually, started with two gentlemen in the field that foreshadowed a crisis, a labor shortage in mining. And they went to the Alberta Chamber of Resources and were like, listen, this is happening. We need to do something about it. And, in simple terms, Careers is actually born out of a pilot project. So, that's kind of what I do. I kind of give you those statistics. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Claudio will flip to the next slide.
Oh.
There we are.
Oh. Yeah, and even to further that as well too, like one of the partnerships and pilot projects we're doing this year with the Alberta government is we have a school secondee project. So basically that means about 90% of the school divisions in Alberta, we have someone who is part-time Careers and part-time school divisions. So we essentially are sharing resources with the school divisions to share anything industry needs to get youth involved in their industries. So just an added resource, especially for anyone on the call who may be in smaller regions. We may be connected to the school divisions there. So, and then with that, here are some of our emails. Arlene is a similar role as Lara, so she just does the northern side of Alberta. But you can absolutely reach out to her. And I guess at this point, we'll take any questions.
Well, thank you so much for all this information. It was great. One of the things that I didn't mention at the very beginning of the call is we are working on a formal internship program for the industry. Star Building Materials has come on board as the presenting sponsor of that to help us really build the internship piece and the work integration with this industry. I know you've talked about this already earlier in this presentation, but people are not going to apply for jobs that they don't know exist. And one of the best ways for us to really change that is to partner with an organization like Careers Alberta. And I'd be happy to support the advocacy efforts to make this a national program because I think it's a really great untapped resource. But it really will help us develop the awareness of the industry. It will also help to start changing some of those misnomers out there. And as you'd mentioned on the call, people use construction as a default career. Well, it shouldn't be that way because there are so many great opportunities, but we need to start connecting those to the students. And so we're excited to partner with you on this. We really are excited about the career fair that's coming up on November the 20th. So if there are folks on this call that have not yet registered, we are going to be hosting a career fair in partnership with Careers Alberta to have a really great footprint that showcases the industry, so we can engage the youth from ages 12 to 21 with the opportunities that we have. We can showcase some of those cool things that they might be able to get to work on or work with. And I know Marty Smith is on the call from MyTech. There's a lot of technology that's out in our industry as well. So being able to expose youth to some of those opportunities is going to be really great. And of course, working through that formal internship program, which we're looking to kick off in the winter season. And we're obviously working with Claudio on that piece. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop talking because I wanted to see if there was any questions. And it looks like Crystal actually has one, which is, what is the first/next step for employers who want to get started?
Yeah.
I'd
so
like, go ahead. Sorry, Claudio, we're both jumping in. Go
That's
ahead,
okay,
Claudio.
Lara. You can take it. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that the first step is let's have a conversation. Claudio and myself, Crystal, we'd love to chat with you. If you wanted to reach out to Claudio and I, our email addresses are on the screen right now, or we can get yours and we can set up a Teams meeting and go from there, because we can discuss the internship positions, the locations within Alberta that you would like to get started with, and just keep the conversation going at that point.
Yeah, and then with the November 20th fair as well, like that would be a great opportunity to have something tangible to show students as an internship opportunity. By that stage, that's a great opportunity to show students that. And the ones who really will, surprise you and stand out will be the ones who are super interested. And yeah, you'll definitely meet some of those students at those fairs for sure. So yeah, so absolutely, Crystal, we can reach out to you after for sure.
Does
And
anyone
same
else
for-
have any other questions?
Yeah, and maybe I'll add to, if anyone is interested in the funding as well, please reach out to Lara and myself to get going with the applying portion of the funding. So basically, you can apply for the funding now, but they can't be used till October 1st for new hires, October 1st and forward. So if anyone is interested, just please send us a message. We can set you up in our portal system, and essentially there is where you would apply for the funding, and then from there, yeah, we should be good from there. It's being really early, not even October yet. Like, it's a great time to jump on it. We have a few ideas that we think it might be all allocated by early February. So the sooner the better, essentially.
Awesome. Well, if there are no further questions, then I'll just wrap this up and say thank you so much for all of this information. This was really great for all of us to learn a little bit more. It is a really great program, and we're going to help you bring it out of the woods so it's not the best kept secret in Alberta, because there is a lot of great potential here, especially with industries who need the support. And when you look at our labor study, you'll see that there is a lot of opportunity that we need to be building for. We've got 20% of the industry retiring. There is growth expected as well. And I believe the number is around 1,700 is the number of people we need to recruit on an annual basis every year to backfill that loss. So, and we're also working on some of the education to support that. So thank you very much for spending time with us today. This webinar is recorded, so we'll be sending out the link once it's done. Feel free to share with your teams as well, and to any of your colleagues that might be interested, because we really want to make the building supply industry a career of choice, and obviously work with a great organization like CAREERS Alberta. So thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have
And
a
we
good
look
afternoon.
forward to working with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
You do too. Thank you so much.
Safe travels,
Okay.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.